Hello, thank you for joining me. This is Emily, the founder of the Children's Literature Training Academy and of this channel, Kid Lit Book Love. If you haven't liked and followed us yet on Facebook, please do so under the Children's Literature Training Academy. Also on Instagram, we are under Children's Literature Academy because we couldn't quite fit the whole title in there. So definitely follow both of our social media channels for different information on each channel, for different kinds of tips and tricks and pictures and quotes and reviews and recommendations for kids, and upcoming information about our adult training courses in children's literature. So people have been asking me, particularly through Facebook, more about the Academy, why I started it, who I am, what I do. And so that's why I'm here today. So if you're interested, definitely watch on. If not, I posted a couple of other videos today, a gorgeous inside read of the Magical Field Guide to Unicorns, which is a Book Riot winner recommendation, and also a brand new but used classic book haul, which I do an overhead of and show you all these books and talk about them as well. And if there are any reviews you'd like to see of those books, please mention so in the comments below that video. Okay, so about myself. So I started the Children's Literature Training Academy because my passion, my love, my goal is to educate adults on critical aspects of children's literature if they have any kind of involvement in building literacy with children. So that can be for parents, that could be brand new parents who want to learn about books, how to use them in the home from the time their child is brand new, a newborn toddler. That can be for homeschooling parents, whether new homeschooling parents due to COVID or experienced long-term homeschooling parents that don't feel like they have enough background or professional training in children's literature, or they have any kind of anxiety or worry or doubt that they're choosing the right books for their children, or they need ideas on how to apply books to their children's learning curriculum, or perhaps whether homeschoolers or parents, you want to know how to build a literacy-rich home environment. So also the Academy is great for brand new teachers who are new graduates with teaching programs, bachelor degree graduates, maybe, or graduate students who are learning more about preparing to be teachers, because there is limited training about children's literature in college programs. You might have some training on literacy or language arts, not necessarily on the literature, reading all the books, studying all the books, knowing how to apply the books, how to choose the books, what constitutes criteria for award-winning books, the Newbery Awards, the Caldecott Awards, the honor books, how to use them, what books not to buy, and why you shouldn't let your child just run in and pick any book he or she wants. There's so much to learn about children's literature that in order to be the best promoter and teacher and advocate for a child to develop a lifelong love of literature, you have to know the literature yourself. So that is the theory behind me starting the Children's Literature Training Academy. It also would be great for librarians. It could be great for social media channel experts who have literature related or literacy related channels that want to know more about children's books. Recommendations. It could also be great for grandparents who want to know about what books to buy for grandchildren to sort of start contributing to a library as the years go on for your grandchildren. It could also be great for childcare professionals and daycare workers who want to bring books into the environment and get the kids away from the electronics. So there are a lot of anyone who just even loves children's literature doesn't even have kids in his or her life and wants to study them again, to rediscover the joy and the magic and the genius behind children's books, and sort of take a course in it because maybe you're no longer in college, or you never had a chance to take a children's literature class in college, or you just want to have someone have guidance in which books to read, and you maybe want to take a few classes on children's literature to study the books yourself with a peer group of others to discuss the books and analyze the books in a critical fashion with a critical lens perspective of a professional. So that's the nature behind the Children's Literature Training Academy. Also great for tutors, online tutors, virtual tutors, tutors of reading, writing, language arts, literature, reading aids, any kind of online business or Zoom kind of a business you have, where you're going to read to children or tutor children. The more you know about children's books, the better you will be able to teach them and influence children. Because what goes into a good quality or high quality versus a poor quality children's book is not just in the eye of the beholder. It takes a professional lens to understand the differences and to choose and to know how to apply and use the books and what you can teach from the books as well. A lot of people have asked me if they're writing their own self-published children's books, or maybe their husband or their wife is. They're asking me if I can do a read and review of their books on the channel here or Facebook. And unfortunately, generally the answer most of the time is no, because we're not here to help people sell their books, especially self-published books or even mainstream published authors. The purpose here is to train adults on all aspects of children's literature so they can better promote a literacy-rich environments in homeschool, the virtual world, with any kind of relationship they have with a child. And so we're not here to, um, this isn't a channel for kids. It's not a channel for kids to watch and have a bunch of reads. I do a few read-throughs of overhead reviews of carefully selected picture books for parents to see the inside, to hear the story, so they can better choose if they want to purchase that book for their child. Certainly you can have your child watch it with you and look at it, but I do tend to make commentary as I'm reading the books out loud on how you can use the book, so a child might get a little bored with that. The video I just posted today, the Magical Field Guide to Unicorns, I do a full read through without much commentary in the middle. If you do want to have a child read that, look at that with you. But I do recommend you only having your child with you when those videos are watched. I'll try to make a comment at the beginning if it's appropriate for a child to watch or not. But so generally we don't do reviews and read-throughs of other people's books. The books that we train in our courses and on our social media channels here and Facebook are primarily books that are classic literature, that are high quality, carefully selected, professionally reviewed, noteworthy books in a variety of genres. Either they were Caldecott or Newbery Award-winning books. They're books that are often used in the core standard learning curriculum. They might be books that have really high ratings and reviews from Library Journal or Booklist, maybe even Goodreads. They're generally carefully selected books that have a diversity background. They teach something very specific. They come from skilled, experienced authors who most of the time have published more than one book. And so anyone can write a children's picture book. It takes certainly craft and practice and some art and skill behind it, especially if it's your first one. But there's a big difference between a children's book and children's literature. And that's something I talk about in some of my courses if you end up signing up for any of our courses as they're being released and designed. Speaking of which, our very first mini course will be released the day after Thanksgiving, and I am so excited about it. It's going to be super bargain, limited edition or limited time holiday themed course for classic and modern children's holiday literature for parents, and it is going to be so much fun, and it's a super bargain price. That's going to be the first course we release and at the holiday seasonal giving price, very inexpensive, under $60. So keep an eye out for that. That will be released here on the channel. I'll talk about it more as we get closer to that time and on Facebook. So anyway, about myself, I have a master's degree in education, and I and course curriculum design, and I had a couple years later, I got a second master's degree in English. My undergrad is English literature. My graduate degree in English, I had a special thesis project in the elements and themes of classic children's literature, and I had to read 100 books of classic children's literature, which really stopped probably around 1950, went all the way back to early 1700s to 1950. And for my thesis project, where I had to design an entire online course of 150 pages for college students. And children's literature is really my love and my passion. I did homeschool my own children, my boys, from second grade all the way to high school. They're now grown. So I have a lot of experience with homeschooling, a lot of experience with a literacy rich home and curriculum that I designed unit studies always around the books, because books are sort of the tip-off learning point for most topics: geography, history, science, literature, creative arts. And I also have an online graduate certificate in e-learning and online teaching, which is because I wanted to be particularly trained in how to teach in the virtual world. I have taught college at a local career college for a couple of years. I stopped that. That was one reason I had the gap on my YouTube channel, which I've discussed before. Didn't really enjoy teaching college because I didn't get to teach what I love. Teaching college with an English degree, you end up doing composition courses and research writing courses and how to write an essay courses and all the stuff that no one even wants to take in college, much less teach it. It was very hard to find a way to teach children's literature, which is my passion. And I never really wanted to work beyond with my own kids with kids. I want to teach all the adults in the world how to be awesome and fabulous and brilliant advocates and teachers of children's literature, whether it's at home or in a professional realm, because there's just not enough of that in the world. And that's really my interest. And I love to read children's literature. I love to buy it. I love to shop for it. I love to bargain book hunt. I love to look at the art in the illustrated books. I love to study them and analyze them. And, it's just kind of like what I do all the time, even all day long, whether professionally or personally. I have written and published several books, not children's books, because my joy is to teach children's books and to read and study them myself. And so I didn't want to write children's books because then it would feel more like a hard, writing children's books is difficult. And I didn't want my love and passion to teach it to others to be ruined by trying to writing to children's books, which makes it feel more like a job instead of like my passion. However, I have written under several different pen names over the years. I've written and published several books in the sweet romance novel, Hallmark novel genre, which is just kind of a hobby that I do. And I'll show you my books. These were all written last year in my gap before I came back to the channel, and I write under the pen name Vivian Mayfair. Here's my Christmas novel, My Christmas Darling. This is my author proof. That's why it has the proof on it. My Christmas Darling. Here I am on the back. So this is kind of like a Hallmark Christmas movie. This is the first book in my series, the Snowdrop Valley series. And it's about a gal who works at a New York publishing company who wrote a brilliant Christmas novel, but she's just like a book reviewer there, and she can't get anyone to publish her novel. So she has to kind of do some deceitful, tricky stuff to get her boss thinking that she's a different person than who she is. She slips in her manuscript to get published as one that she chose, but really it's her book. And so it all kind of spirals downhill after that. But this is a Christmas novel, and you can pick that up anywhere you'd like. The second book in the series is, even though Halloween comes before Christmas, is A Sleepy Hollow Kiss. And this is my Halloween novel. Really, it takes place 5 years after My Christmas Darling. So if you ever were to read my books, still read the Christmas one first. Don't think you have to read the Halloween one first, because really this one comes second. So this is Sleepy Hollow Kiss, and it has a very kind of a hocus pocus, and it takes place in the book town of Snowdrop Valley, which is a town entirely dedicated to books. Everything in this little New England town in Vermont is all about the book industry, book publishers, book stores, book themed restaurants, book themed hotels, book themed everything. And this is about a teacher who is the director of the Literary Arts College, and a Southern man who comes to town to help her design Horror Gothic Literature Week at the college. And they're put together in a project, and it all kind of goes to hell. That's that book. And my third book, and these were all written last year, is Wedding at Walden Pond. Here's my other proof. Whoops, Wedding at Walden Pond. And this is the third book in the series. This is a fall themed book, and it's a romance. Sweet. These are all sweet, PG-ish rated romances, kind of mild comedy. And my book, Wedding at Walden Pond, also takes place in Snowdrop Valley, the book town. And it's about kind of this secret wedding theme, pulling the wool over these two bookstore. One owns a fairy tale bakery and children's bookstore. Her name is Belle, which I named, obviously you can figure out where that name came from. And the owner of a horror shop bookstore, owner across the street, who are completely mismatched. And they kind of get together in this ruse to fool their parents for this whole complicated reason. And so these are my books here that I wrote last year when I was in between designing and building, working on this business, designing courses, and just kind of what I do when I'm not working is I just love to write books. And so that's what I do. I've also, for several years, I had a business, Booknote Literary Services. I'm a literary consultant. where I was teaching courses, consulting and coaching on writing novels, manuscript critiques. I would do editing, that kind of stuff. So I'm not doing that anymore. My whole sole purpose and goal and true love is children's literature. So with COVID and everything changing, I just decided full time that this is what I'm going to do. I brought in another expert in children's literature to help me teach some of the classes. So thank you everybody for watching, for following my channel and supporting my work.